Okay, today we're going to look at using the formal written method of division. So we're going to focus on this question, or the way that this question is written first. So if we look at the question that we're going to start with, we have 85 divided by 5. Now, you guys might have a variety of strategies to solve this question. I would split it into the biggest 5 times table that I know, which is 50, and then whatever was left over, but that's for another day. So we're just going to look at the formal written method. So I've written it out this way first just so I can show you. Now, in all other formal written methods, we always start with the units first, and division is or the lowest value column. Division is different. We always start with the highest value column, which seems strange, but I'm just going to illustrate with pneumicon shapes. So instead of looking at, if I look at how many 5s go into 5 first, I would be splitting this 5 into these 5 circles, and I'd have I'd swap out my 5 shape for these 5 ones. So this would go away, and what I would do is I'd just put 1 in each, right? But then I'd be confronted with this problem where I had 80 left over, and I can't split 80 equally between my 5 circles here. I end up with 3 left over. I end up with 30 left over, which is a bit tricky. So what I would do instead is I'm going to start with I'm going to put this all back. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these ones, or units, and I'm going to have my 5 back here. Okay, so instead of starting with the 5, I'm going to put the units away to the side for now, and I'm going to start with my 10s, and I'm going to split up my 10s evenly between my 5 different groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 35 left over, okay? And I need to split 35 into 5 equal groups. Well, you guys know your times table, so you know that there are 7 5s in 35. So all of a sudden, I've taken away the bulk of my question. I've gotten rid of the first 50, and I'm left with 35 left over. So now I'm just trying to work out. Now it's just 35 divided by 5, which you all know to be 7 because you know your 5 times table, and that 5 goes into 35 7 times. So then all of a sudden I've got these 7s, so I'll put 1 7 here, 1 7 here, 1 7 here, 1 7 here, and 1 7 here. And I can get rid of these because I've swapped them out for 7s, and I know my answer to be 17 because there's 17 in each of my 5 bubbles. Okay, so that's just to show you why we start with the 10s. We start with the 10s first, or the highest value column. So if you have thousands, it would be thousands. If you have 10,000s, it would be 10,000s, because we need to split up the biggest number first. So if we all look over here to the other side, okay, we've got, this is how you would write out the formal written method. It's with this little line here, and all that means is 85 divided by 5, or you can look at it as how many 5s go into 85. So when I solve the formal written method, I always start with my highest or value column. In this case, it's 10s. Okay, so 10s are bigger than units, so I'll start with the 10s. And what I'm trying to work out is how many 5s are going to go into these 8 10s. Well, I can only fit 1 5 into 8. Okay, so I'm going to put my 1 there. Now, the tricky bit is when you put your 1 there to signify that's how many could fit, but how many, if I do 5, how many is that? So how many 5s fit into 8 10s? Well, the answer is I'm going to have 5 times 110 is 50. So I'm going to pop that over the top there. Okay, now I have to take away this 50, just like we did when we were moving our shapes. Okay, we had, we got rid of these 50 first. So 1 here, I put 10 here, I put 10 here, I put 10 here, and I put 10 here. That's the 50, that's the 50. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sort of subtract that 50 away to show that I've already used that 50. And I need to get rid of it so that I can work out how much is left over. So we do 85 minus 50. 5 minus 0 is 5. 8 10s minus 5 10s is 3 10s. So I'm left with 35. Just like I was left with 35 over here after I got rid of those 5 10s, I have 35 left over. And then I work out how many 5s go into 35, which we all know is 7. So I'll put my 7 over the units column here. And then again, I multiply them by each other, so 5 times 7 is 35. And I know that 35 take away 35 is 0, so I don't have anything left over. I don't have any remainders. Okay, we'll just try with another example just to show you what's going on again, but we're going to do the two together at the same time. So while I solve the question using the resources here, or the short method of division, I'm also going to look at the long written method simultaneously. So, like I said before, we always start with the highest order or highest value column. In this case, again, we have tens. We don't have hundreds or thousands, so we just start with the tens. So we're trying to work out 84 divided by 6. Again, that's what this says as well. It says 84 divided by 6. How many 6s go into 84? Or we're taking 84 and we're sharing it into 6 separate groups. Okay, it doesn't matter how you speak about it. We're dividing either way. So again, we're going to start with the tens first. So I have 8 tens here, 80, 8 tens here, 80, and I want to split it up into 6 groups or figure out how many 6s go into 8. 8 tens, so I'm going to split them up 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've managed to fit 6 tens into 80, so I've got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, so that's one group of 6 tens into 80. So I've moved one lot of 6 tens and 1 6 times 10 is 60, and that's how much I've gotten rid of. As you can see, it's gone. I've split it into my group. 60 is gone. So now I have to take that away from my formal written method. 4 minus 0 is 4. 8 minus 6 is 2. So I should have 24 left over. And again, I can see that over here I have 24 left over here. So now all I have left is how many 6s go into 24, or 24 divided by 6. Okay, and if you know your 6 times table, you know that there are 4 6s in 24, or 6 times 4 is 24. So I should be able to fit 4 6s into 24. So what I would do is I would swap this 24, I'd trade it out for 4 6s. Oh no, sorry, I'm doing that wrong. I want to trade it out for 6 groups of 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 1 4 in each of these. So I've got 6 groups of 4. And again, 6 times, so I need to figure out what I've used. So 6 times 4 units is 24. So I just write my 24 under here to say that I've used it, it's gone, and we need to work out how much we have left. And 24 minus 24 is 0. So again, I have 0 left over, and in each of my 6 groups, I have 14, and my answer here is also 14. Okay, we're going to look at something that has hundreds now. So the hundreds are now our highest value columns. We have to start with them first. We treat them as just digits when we're trying to figure out how many in, which is different to how we do other operations, but that's just how long division works. So I'm trying to work out how many 4s go into 1, and, well, 0. I can't fit 4s into 1. So what I do instead is I'd pop a 0 over the hundreds column, which you wouldn't really need. You don't have to put that there, but it's just to be thinking about it. And instead I look at the hundreds and tens together to see if I can fit this number into hundreds and tens numbers. So the hundreds and tens together make a 12, and so I work out how many 4s go into 12. So it'd be 12 divided by 4, or how many 4s go into 12, and we know that there are 3 4s in 12. So what I would do is I would put a 3 over the tens column. Now again, this 12 actually signifies 120 if we're pretending that there's no units. So my 120 would be this 120 over here. Okay, and what I'm doing is I've split it into 3 equal groups. So now I've got 30 in each of my 4 separate groups. So I've swapped out this 100 for 10 tens instead, and I've got 3 in each group. Okay, if we do it this way, it just makes it easier to manipulate, and it means that our leftover units are easy to rearrange later. Okay, so I've gotten rid of 120, so I have to show that in my long written form of division. So what I do is I multiply the 4 times the 3 tens that I got rid of. So I got rid of 3 tens times 4 groups, which is 120. So I pop 120 here, or the 12 tens, sorry. So 4 times 3 tens is 12 tens. So I show my 12 tens there. 12 minus 12 is 0, so I don't have any tens left. All I'm left with is units. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag my units down here to say I need to look at how many 4s go into U now. So how many 4s go into 8, or 8 divided by 2, and my answer is going to be, oh, not 2, my goodness me, 8 divided by 4, because we're dividing by 4. 8 divided by 4, I've given you the answer, and the answer is 2. So my 2 would go here. And then we got to work out how many I got rid of. So I put 2, oopsies, 2 over here. I put 2 over here, 2 over here, and I've put 2 over here. And I've got none left over. So 4 times 2 per group is 8, and I've got 0 left over. So I don't have any remainders. Everything's split up equally into 4. So again, I didn't have to put this 0 over the hundreds column, but if I can't fit the number, the divisor, into the highest order column, I just sort of pop the next value column in with it, and I use that number instead. Another example, we're going to work out how many 7s go into 161, or 161 divided by 7. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to start with the column that has the highest value, which is my hundreds column. So how many 7s go into 1? Doesn't fit. We can't put any 7s into 1, so automatically I'm going to look at the hundreds and tens together. So I have 16 tens, so I tried to work out how many 7s go into 16, or 16 divided by 7. And I can work out that I can fit 2 7s into 16 because 2 times 7 is 14, but 3 times 7 is 21, so that's too high. So I'm going to put a 2 over my tens column because I'm working in the tens columns just now. And then I'm going to work out how many I've used up already and what I have left over. So I've used up 2 tens times 7, which is 14 tens. So I've used that up. So all I'm going to do is with my 14 tens, so that's 10 tens, 11 tens, 12 tens, 13 tens, 14 tens, I'm just going to delete them because I've used them up already. So 16 tens minus 14 tens, I should have 2 tens left over, which I do, but I also have this little pesky little digit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scoot this unit down here and add it to my 2 tens to show that I actually have 21 left over. And now I've got to work out how many 7s are going to fit into my 21 that's left over. So 21 divided by 7. And if you know your 7 times table, you know that 7 goes into 21 3 times. So 21 divided by 7 is actually going to be 3. So I'm going to pop that up there. And then let's see how much I've used. I've used 7 times 3 units, which is 21. So I pop that down here. And then I know that, oh, I've actually used all that. So delete, away you go. And I have no remainders. Perfect. All right, we've got a new problem. We've got 238 divided by 5. We're trying to work out how many 5s go into 238. So my highest order column, again, hundreds. How many 5s go into 2? The answer is 0. So we've got to extend ourselves over to the tens column. How many 5s go into 23? That's a bit better. So 23 divided by 5 is what we're working with. So I know that 4 5s is 20, but 5 5s is 25. So 5 5s is too many. So we're just going to have to use 4 instead. So I've got 4 5s. Now, I've used 5 times 4 tens, which is 20 tens altogether. So I'm going to put that down here to show I'm going to use 20 tens, which means I'm going to get rid of them. And that's 10 tens and another 10 tens. So all of a sudden, those 20 tens are gone. And let's see what we've got left over. So 23 minus 20 is 3. So I should have, in my tens column, I should have 3 tens left over, which I do. They're here. And I should have 8 units left over, which I do. They're here. So I'm just going to drag my little unit down to go hang out with my tens down here. And then I'm going to work out how many 5s fit into 38. So I've got 38 divided by 5 now. And I know that 7 5s is 35, which would fit, but 8 5s is 40, which is too much. So it's going to have to be 7. So I'm going to put 7 5s up here. Now I've got to get rid of those 7 5s and see how much I have left over. So 5 times 7 is 35. So I'll pop those there, which means I've got to take them away because I've shared them equally. So 1, 2, 3 tens and 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goodbye. Shared those equally. And let's see what I have left over. 8 minus 5 is 3. 3 tens minus 3 tens. Oh, I forgot my subtraction symbol. 3 tens minus 3 tens is 0. Now, I've got a 3 sitting here. 3 units left over. And I've got 5, but I can't put that 5 into the 3 because I don't have enough. So this is just going to become my remainder. Okay, so this guy is what's left over. I've got 3 little units left over. So I just have to indicate that on in my answer with a little r that says remainder and 3 saying that's what's left over.